G'day. I thought I'd start this film a little bit different to the other 26 and just sort of give you an update of where things are at. So the car's done about 6,000 k from memory since build, so it's been pretty successful. I thought I'd cover off on a few things that weren't and consequently there's going to be a lot of footage I'll delete and I just won't put up. Holy sniper. So nutshell, I've got to get help from the Labradors here. Good on you, mate. Thanks, buddy. Went through 4 of them. One is fried. Much thanks to EMA down in Albury there, who were very patient in supplying me ones under warranty. But they all developed a cooling temperature sensor issue, and we believe it was to do with the ice ignition. Well, I do. So we went to fast AFI, and now that's been there for over a year now, and the fast has been very good overall, to the point where, so I'm going to announce now, we're actually going to drive this car to Alice Springs. So we're in the Yass district, Yass Shire Council is where we are, and we're going to drive it to Alice Springs for the Sentinats. The car's registered in. So accommodation, everything's already paid for, so there's no stopping it now. So it should be pretty cool. We're going to take it to Silverton. We're going to take the Mad Max Museum in Broken Hill there. So I'm looking forward to that trip. But that's the confidence we have in the car that we're able to drive it. So apologies for the upcoming footage. It's going to be a little disjointed. And unfortunately, the next thing you'll see is probably the engine in, I think. I'm not quite sure. And it was done on my wife's phone and the data was lost. There's one photo I have, that's it. So I really apologise for that. There's no footage of the engine going into the car. Most everything else is there. And the wiring, as you've seen in the last 2 videos, have just been quite laborious, but that's how it was. And that's worked out quite well. And this thing's got power, everything. Remote central locking, you know, power windows, you know, it's got a hands-free Bluetooth stereo and all these things, cruise control, air conditioning, and it all works. And it works because of the time taken in preparing and laying out the wiring. So it's not everyone's cup of tea, I get it. But I wanted to retro the car, and on that front, the other car's coming along. So you would have seen in the background, maybe you didn't, the XC Ute that I got. So we bought that a number of years ago, and it's progressing along reasonably well with other commitments that we have in life pending. So anyway, I just thought I'd change things up a little bit and just you know, talk about how the thing's gone, but we'll continue with the build, and at the end I'll show you what the aim is. I'll get this right. I want to get everything done before August. So Sentinats is in late August, Father's Day, Alice Springs, and I'm trying to get the videos expedited out so that it'll all be done and dusted before we go, and then we're going to try and live YouTube the whole trip. So as we turn up at places like Hay and Balranald and Broken Hill and la. So it should be really cool, hopefully. Anyway, thank you. Righto, time for a celebratory film. Because that's what it looks like. Might look as dodgy as hell, then it is, but it's working. So I've got the main 2 new power wires, fed, and the feed wire for the stereo. I just want to test a few things, see how we're going. Earth to chassis, that always works. Cool. All the power window switches are just sitting in there. And we will start with some central locking. Here's some we prepared earlier. Press it the right way, idiot. Look at that. Beautiful. And again. Okay, I've got a file over here. Look at that.
I was looking on the other side. Right. That's a plug behind the infamous glove box. I wonder if I remember to do that up. I'm saying no at this point. I'll have to chase that one down. I might have missed a plug in here yet. This is why we test these things. Ignition. Fan works. Stereo works. Stereo goes on. Power windows. Yep. Yep. That one works. And behind us. Done. Alright. So a bit of fault finding to do. Hopefully it's just a plug I've missed. Yeah, I think it's one behind the glove box. I must have missed it when I put it in. But it doesn't matter. I'm not too unhappy about that. And especially the power windows, they feel really crisp. Like really crisp. So this is a switch I managed to pull apart and clean up, all the contacts. And the other ones, I've got to be binned. I've got one new one. I guess we can try it. See how it goes. Hang on. Or unlock. There we go. Those actuators are pretty gnarly. All right. Does this work? Yes. But not in the up. And that's probably the stinking switch, to be honest with you. That's one I haven't replaced. Because it works. Yeah, that'll be the switch. All right. What we got over here? Funnily enough, that's a new switch. I think, is it? Can't remember. And what have we got here? Okay. So we've got one up selection on that switch over there. That's it. Well, it's not a bad outcome really, considering these are looms that completely pulled apart. Totally and utterly. Not too unhappy to get the stereo and that working. So I'll chase through that loom for the, excuse me, the central locking. Yeah. Yeah, I must have missed it. Must have. So I had the glove box in and out a couple of times. So, you know, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's come out again. At the end of the day, the cigarette lighter tray can go back in. That's what's powering the stereo. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Happy with that. So that fascia and the clock can now go back in, which is great. So we'll just sort out the central locking first up tomorrow. And on in earnest. So the other thing is to do that. I've got the pedals in. I'll have to get up in the mezzanine and get the cruise control and see if I can get the switches working, but they seem to be. Actually, I can test it on that loom. I'll do that too, make sure the switches for brake and clutch are working per advertised. It's another thing I can do. But that'll do for the time being. I'm not too unhappy with that. That's pretty monumental considering we bare shelled this thing. So it's progress. Yeah. It's clearly roughy up time, isn't it, mate? Hey, don't knock my bike over. Get him, Humphrey. Get him, Tilda. All right. Righto. Let's do this again. Lock. Oh, you idiot. Press lock. All four. What's even cooler? even cooler. Let's do that again. You bloody beauty. I don't know if you're seeing that, but that means the chirp indicator wired into that harness, actually this one here for the dashboard, is doing its job. Lights on, so courtesy lights work, and stereos come on with accessories. That's what we want. Indicators not, but, and there we go. So we have an indicator, you can see that down there, that's flashing. So just got to make sure the brake light system's working now. I test the loom for the cruise control system. It appears to be working, so both clutch and brake are giving me a closed circuit onto that one down there. That's the cruise control loom, and the clutch doesn't give us a change in the brake light system, but the brake light does. It's got to get a couple of correct globes. Had a couple of twin post globes, but they're not twin filament, and they just simply don't work. And there we have our stereo powered up as well, so this is good. And the power windows, that was the other thing. Changed the switch out, and I did get it to work yesterday, so make a lie of me, you bloody thing. Oh, so these switches, they've always been finicky. So I did change this switch yesterday, and it did work. There you go. So that means all 4 power windows are working off all of their switches. I'm going to bin all the single switches. I've got one new one. I'll get the other 2 replaced. You can get them from Rare Spares now, about 50 bucks a pop. So that's pretty bloody good. All I've got to do is just confirm that the brake lights are working, and only off the brake switch itself. And the clutch doesn't fire that because I ran that diode in the system, if you remember. But that's it. Now we can, I've built that loom up down the back. So we did that yesterday. So that's all wrapped up. The other thing we've got to do, I have confirmed that the wire I put into this harness, it's a blank at the moment, going up to the solenoid here, does work with that central locking system. So I'm pretty bloody happy with that. Because at the end of the day, you come up to this car, press the boot, and the boot will open up fully on its gas struts, which is another modification I did. But it all looks original. So pretty exciting stuff, because this means we really start moving forward, finishing wiring off and get the engine in. And that's where we're going. So we've got to build up this loom into this box. Things like the window washer will go here, so that wire, that harness is going to be made up and fed through behind the radiator. The wiring for the thermo fans is going to have to be done up, and all that stuff is going through, including the ignition, including the Holly Sniper, the fuel pump that is going through there. The air conditioner solenoid wire also will power a feed that goes into that box. So really glad to get that dash in and get that wiring to a pretty satisfactory state. Really good stuff, and it appears to be working as advertised. So we had that one little problem with the left hand central locking actuator's not working, and it was actually a broken bloody wire. So I must have, it's pretty fine wire going in the system, and a wire was just open circuit in the guts of the harness. So I had to do a piggyback. There was no way out. I was going to pull the dash apart and pull it out again and unwind and wind a whole loom. It wasn't worth it. So I had to run one piggyback blue wire to one of the actuators. But that's it. On. Righto. Just a quick update. We're going to put the engine in. Before I do that, we need to do the brake lines. Now, these are the old brake line fittings. I'm doing film.
Oh, you're telling me.
She's answering that. Love you. So, That is funny. Sarah, you might have to edit that out. But anyway, now, the way these were fitted in back of the day, they had some sort of ridiculous clamp around them. So the new ones won't fit like that. They will go in, and they have a, yes, it will go in eventually. It's a bit of an interference fit, but it will go in. And it has a clip to retain on the other end. These had a press fit device. So what I have done is cut it off. That was the only way to deal with that. I'm trying to work out which one that was. So that was left hand front, this is right hand front, I believe. Yes, it is. And we're dealing with this situation here. So if you can see in here, there's that little lip. Right, they got some press on ring. Air hacksaw, by the way, cheap way to do that. Buy hacksaw blades, cut them in three blades, about $2. Cheaper than buying from, you know, whatever, one's pre-made, which don't last any longer. Now, extractors, or headers, whatever you want to call them. Had to do the oxybung, did a shithouse job on the world, unfortunately, but it'll do the job. So the collectors are here, 2.5 inches is there, and when it sits in the car, it's exactly at 10 o'clock. This is 9 o'clock, this is 10 o'clock. That's what Holly say. They say from where the collectors end, which is there, you should be 1 to 10 inches. Well, we're about 2. The collector pipe's actually on where my finger is. It's about 2 inches, in fact, looking down the tube. And we've just hit these with a ceramic paint. And Jodie's been sitting there with, that's why she's in the shed, with the heat gun. I don't have an oven big enough. I don't have the luxury of putting them on the car yet. So we've just got a heat gun and heated them up as best we can. So that's that. Recording. All right. Quite a lot has happened over the last few weeks. I quit my job. I got another one. It's all good. And we've got quite a lot done with the car. Bought some new equipment like this. Very handy if you're going to try and put a gearbox in by yourself. Had a couple of mates over in the weekend, and well, let's have a look. The engine's in. Hallelujah. That's a big move. So it didn't take us long, actually. It was like anything, it's all about the prep work. The execution didn't take bugger all. But today is one of those days where it's just not my day. I'll quickly grab a torch. Couple of things going on. Just thought I might test this reverse switch. Looks like it's not really working. So I'll try the other one, the safety switch, and see if that swaps over. Don't know, I'll have a look at it, might be able to fix it, might have to buy a new one. I was just having a bit of a play with the switch. I was going to put the gearbox in today and everything, you know, tail shaft and exhaust system and all that sort of good gear. But no, why? You say, Blue, why? Because those frickin' fingers are bent to buggeries. This thing's torqued down correctly, and it's, yeah, no good. No good. So I rang Mal Wood this morning and we're going for a whole new assembly. End of story. Yes, I could get one that marries up to these holes, but they're the wrong size bloody holes. No one does twin plates anymore, or maybe they do, but they seem to be old hat. Single plate 11-inch seems to be the way to go with a organic plate, he said. I don't know much about them, but I've heard about them, so... Unfortunately, those fingers are warped, no good, and there was a bit of damage to one of the plates too, so forget it. So flywheel might be usable by someone we know, we'll give it to them. So I bought this, $169 from Sydney Tools. Starting to buy a lot of stuff from Sydney Tools actually. No, I'm not sponsored by Sydney Tools, I just, you know, starting to buy some of the gear like that torque wrench down there, the wheel dollies and all that. So I was just playing with the shift. The shift is good. It feels really nice. But we don't seem to have any continuity. Look at those two probes across there. In reverse. No, it hasn't gone in reverse, must be in fourth. But anyway, I'll pull this out and have a look at it. So yes, engine in. We've had another setback. Braided brake lines, so fitted in there, all very nice. Went to fit them in the rear of the car, but the ones they've sent me, this diff mount and distributor block is no good, and the banjo bolts they gave me for the freaking rear brake calipers also don't fit. I'm a little bit annoyed at Safe Brake, I'll be frank. One, you've sent me the wrong stuff. Two, I've emailed you twice because you don't have a non-corporate phone number you can call you on, and you haven't answered my bloody emails. So this is completely different to the one that's on the factory 9-inch, and these banjo bolts do not fit the Ford calipers. End of story. And the original hoses don't have banjo bolts. Anyway, they screw straight into the caliper like that, and the block has both ports like that, and it has 2 attachment points like that. So when you spend $245 or whatever it was, you know, a bit of customer service wouldn't hurt. I bought 2 sets of these hoses now. I'll put a set of these on the Territory, but as you can see, this is completely wrong. It's the wrong one, and the kit says Ford 9-inch with 9-inch diff 76 to 82. Well, that'd be us. So no. I mean, this could work with the banjos. It will actually line up, but the bolts are wrong. And I'm a little bit annoyed. People don't answer their frickin' emails and don't give you a phone number to call. Not good enough. It really isn't good enough. You know, just because you're not a massive wholesaler. Seriously. So that's where we're at. We thought we were really moving fast, but unfortunately, no. This looks a trick bit of kit. This is this hydraulic bearing I've been rabbiting on about. Just rang Melbourne with them. We've got a small little problem. This O-ring is just too damn fat. Way too fat. It protrudes too much in the groove here. There's no way you'll ever squeeze it on. As you can see, been trying to force it on. It's actually cut into it. So you can see how much it's been cut into. So they're looking into that right now, actually. So that's just the wrong O-ring. I would think it'd be a square drive one to fit into the square drive hole. But anyway, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But massive progress, obviously getting the engine in. So what I'll do now is drop this out. There's no point that being there anymore. That's going to go in the bin. Got to work out these hydraulic lines as well for the double RS. That rag's just holding the engine on the steering arm there, or steering assembly. These just aren't going to be as neat as I thought, but essentially I'll probably just zip tie them into place, just like they've done with the rigid lines. The other thing I've got to do is find an adapter for this to fit the AN fitting compared to the old little hydraulic fittings that used to be on cars. So that's something else we've got to do. But still a big milestone. We've got the engine in. Unfortunately, we've got a few hold-ups and a few setbacks, but that's life. But you can see how she's coming along. It's looking pretty good. Anyway, on. All right, sorry about the wind in the background, but she's hot, got the fans on. What we're doing here is making up the lower, and I guess we'll make up the upper radiator brackets. Now, this is the Aussie Desert Cooler. I think it's a 5 cooler. It's a big bloody thing. These are the extrusions provided with the radiator. Yeah. Not required. Don't get it. So I've already done a temp fit using the original ones, and all we've got to do to make it tuck into the car is pretty bloody simple, really. Trying to work out which way it goes now. Orientation for the car. That's sideways. Yep, so the radio sits in here to here. Put it close together so we can see where it sits. Got the trusty old drill out again. In fact, I've actually flipped it over him. That's got one broken tooth. I made up a new pin for it, and that was just a matter of getting a drill, breaking it in two, grinding off a step in it so it won't come out, and there's still a portion sitting inside here. They're spring loaded, these things. And there's the big trick. Use this stuff. Works wonderful. And so this was the old bottom bracket, and all we have to do is make up a new L, a new stopper, new shelf, call it what you will, to hold it in place, because forward of here is the chassis. Not chassis, car frame, call it what you will. Here is what I'm talking about. So that little bracket sits in down there, and all we have to do is get something that holds it up against that flat surface. Same with here. Now the two condenser bolts are in here, but I'm just going to insulate that. I had a bit of foam rubber, and it'll be askew if 4mm, but there's nothing we can do about it. I could put the same insulation rubber here, make it straight, but I'm trying to grab as much real estate here as we can, because there is literally about 6mm between that and the fan. So once we've got the gearbox in the exhaust, we'll be having a good shake around and make sure that this can't hit here. It shouldn't move fore aft. The engine will twist on the mounts, but it shouldn't move fore aft, so we should be okay. And bearing in mind there's no fan sitting on that because we've got thermo fans. So yeah, I'm utilising the old brackets rather than, I don't get what they're trying to achieve with that extrusion. There's no diagrams for it, there's no pictures, there's nothing. But they do sit nice in here, you can adapt them, and that's what I'm doing. So this come off really easy. Now after all the holes I drilled like an idiot, you know, without using this stuff, it actually flung it off. Unbelievable. So we'll take this one off now, put these back into the car, put the radiator on, measure up where we need to weld a bracket onto, and just weld a little bracket. Paint it black, you'll never know. And we'll just put foam rubber down as well for the radiator to sit on. Or rubber, doesn't matter. Cool.